Okay. Welcome back. Well, I'm joined now by the General Secretary of the South African Communist Party, needless to say, an ally of the African National Congress, Dr. Nzimande. Welcome, sir, and thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Vuyo. Thanks for the opportunity.
Well, from where the commies sit, what are you expecting, or what would you like the ANC to say to the workers of South Africa, to the working class of South Africa today?
Well, firstly, we support the ANC in the forthcoming local government elections. The reasons, amongst others, is so that the ANC can continue to build on its achievements, some of which are very impressive. Provision of housing, provision of water, access to electricity, clinics, and a whole range of other things that the ANC has done. Things that we dare not take them for granted. Things that are very important to our people. So we would like to see the ANC continuing to build on that. But what we are expecting now is that despite these achievements, one thing that has changed very little is the apartheid geography of our localities. You still have areas that are far from the cities, predominantly black. Unfortunately, some of the RDP houses we've built, impressive as they are far away from city centers. Within this time around, the ANC must commit more to changing the geography of apartheid. The other thing that we are expecting is commitment to building capacity of municipalities. This thing that most services by municipalities are outsourced is a problem. It's a problem at many levels. Firstly, workers that are outsourced are rightless, actually. They are hugely exploited and so on. The second problem with outsourcing of services is that municipalities have little control, really, on how those services should be delivered, as well as the corruption that gets opened up by this outsourcing. So we expect to see more commitment on that side. The other matter that we are interested in as the Communist Party, which is part of improving services, is we are concerned, for instance, that local government offices are open when those who are working are at work, and they close at the same time as they leave work. And they do not open on weekends, which means the working class does not have full access to a range of services. In other words, we have got to take a day off in order to go and sort out some problems that we might be having, at a municipal level. We would like those things to be looked at.
Have you raised these issues with the ANC?
Yes, we have raised them with the ANC.
Did you get a sense that you are being listened to?
Yes, we got a sense that we are really being listened to. Of course, the other thing as the party that we are concerned about, which to us is the most important, is that we must continue engaging communities beyond elections. It can't be that we have got intense engagement with communities in the run-up to elections, but after the elections, we do not continue this intense engagement. It's very important. It's a problem that we have been raising. The ANC itself has been raising this problem, but I think it's the issue of weakness in structures of the organization, the ANC, the alliance, such that they are unable to actually do those kinds of things. We really do need to pay attention to that, because even many of these so-called service delivery protests, they are as a result of poor engagement and communication with communities. But also we would urge communities that don't just go and vote and then sit down in your house and so on. Do attend meetings. Do demand meetings from councillors that they must convene meetings and actually report back. So that those issues relate really to organizational capacity. ANC tends to be very good as an election machinery, which is important. It's very important. But we need to use that capacity beyond just elections. Yeah.
Well, not too long ago, you were quoted as saying that perhaps the time has come, which it wasn't the first time, you were saying something like that. That perhaps the time has come, or certainly in certain instances, where the SACP should perhaps continue standing or getting candidates to stand for election. What happened to that thought?
That debate is continuing inside the structures of the party. If you recall, in 2012, in our Congress, which we held at the University of Zululand, a resolution was taken that we should continue having what we call the State Power Commission, which must look at the relationship broadly of the SACP to political power and political institutions, including the question of whether to contest elections or not, and if the SACP decides to do so, under what conditions, but still committed to the alliance. So it's an ongoing debate. We are a political party, we are not a non-governmental organization. So we have an interest in political power. We are unashamed about that. At the moment, we are happy to support the African National Congress because we believe that generally it is still in the right direction. But it does not mean that we should not continuously evaluate whether we on our own should not stand for elections as the SACP.
What do you think is the single biggest weakness, or shall I say Achilles heel or vulnerable point of the ANC as it goes into these elections?
One is corruption. I'm not saying the ANC is corrupt, but there is a lot of corruption in our institutions, including local government. So we need to intensify the campaign against corruption. The second thing that we see as a threat to us as the SACP is factionalism. And usually, by the way, this factionalism tends to reinforce, corruption and factionalism tend to reinforce each other, because factionalism sometimes it's about to grab the organization in order to access resources, government resources. So that is a serious problem, and we are worried that we seem not to be putting enough effort in tackling this thing. People tend to forget, by the way, that this is 2016. We are in an electoral democracy. We can never take our people for granted and think that we'll just do anything and hope that we are actually going to win an election. Those are the challenges, though. The ANC itself has raised them. It's not that it's us who are raising them for the first time, but we need to increase our effort to tackle those two.
Do you get a sense that your comrades within the ANC appreciate that reality?
Everybody says so, but commitment is not the same amongst all of us in terms of tackling those problems. There are some of our comrades who seem to thrive on factionalism, who think that whatever they do, they take organizations. Sometimes that causes the organization, which is what we said at our last Alliance Summit. You create a distance between leadership and membership, as well as leadership and communities. And that is so crucial, especially at a local level.
Do you think the issue of the Mandela and the Concord judgment will be a factor at all in this election?
I think we need to take that seriously and deal with it. That's why as the SACP welcome the fact that the ANC has not been defensive. It said, we accept the judgment, we accept the threats posed by the meaning of this judgment, and therefore we must go out, engage our branches, but engage beyond our branches, engage faith communities, engage other communities, professionals, and so on, to listen also, not just to go and tell people. We think that in a way it has served as a wake-up call to actually say, let's not go arrogantly to people, rather let's go and listen to people. We support that as the SACP.
Dr. Nzimande, that's where we're going to leave it. Thanks very much for being part of these conversations as we bring you live from the Nelson Mandela Bay, Port Elizabeth, the unveiling of the ANC's Election Manifesto for local government elections in this year, 2016. I'm going to hand back to Alicia in the studio, but at 11 o'clock we will, of course, be going live, joined by SABC to viewers. For now, it's back to you, Alicia, in the studio.
Thank you very much to our contributing editor there, Vuyo Mvoko, joined by Dr. Nzimande in his capacity as the head of the Communist Party there, and really as an ally of the ruling party, reiterating their support for the ruling party. He says that the achievements of the ANC shouldn't be forgotten, but he says there's something that the ruling party still needs to address, and that is, of course, the political geography, which is still something that needs to be built upon and really looked at by the ruling party. He said something very important as well is the continuation of engagements with communities long after the elections. We're going to take a quick ad break. We'll be back with more.